Good morning, ladies. How are you? So I wanted to make a quick video, uh, and I wanted to talk a little bit about getting out of our comfort zones to move forward and to take leaps forward. Interestingly, I had a few different experiences in the past couple of months that put me in a place of not bearing to continue things the way I was doing them, which means that some of the things that I've been putting on the back burner for a long time, some of it for a couple of years, I would say, I had to simply begin to move forward on these things. And I think I definitely shared with you that I had a panic attack. I felt depressed for the first time since I can remember. I wasn't feeling good, and I knew that it was time. It was time for taking steps forward, and that meant I had to get out of my comfort zone quite a bit. And another interesting thing that happened, many of you, probably most of you know by now that I am into quote unquote spiritual stuff. I do intuitive readings. I often help people one-on-one to get through life situations, and I also receive these types of services from others, particularly also because I have quite a large network and I can do exchanges easily with people who do this, offer this kind of services. So I actually received one particular healing session, which was kind of like, how could I put this? It was a theta healing session, but what it really was, was speaking to somebody who helped me process a certain mix of emotions, let's put it that way. And what ended up happening during this session was that this person really challenged some of my identity that I've held on to for probably 20 years or more. And I'm not by any means perfect or have everything figured out, but I have tools. So I understand that there are certain situations where I simply have to use one of these tools and get out of my comfort zone to high degrees to transform and to make a difference. And in this particular scenario, I was so angry. I got so incredibly pissed with this with this I wouldn't with this person that was doing this healing session on me, because she was challenging every part of the identity that I've held on to for so long. And my first reaction was anger and frustration, but the truth is that when you want to transform, you have to face that. You have to face yourself holding onto an identity that is sabotaging you and that's hurting you. So, for example, let me give you an example. Let's say that you hold on to the identity that you are somebody who is an anxious person, or somebody who is afraid of spiders, or somebody who is just doesn't have luck with men, or somebody who believes that all men are bad and they're all treating you bad. Like, these are all identities that it doesn't apply to everybody, but it can apply to a individual that have quote unquote subconsciously attached themselves to having this identity. And the truth is that these identities, even though it feels like it's us, the truth is that it's not us. It's just a belief system that at some point attached itself to us for whatever reason. It could be many different reasons, and sometimes the reason helps, sometimes it doesn't even matter. But the truth is that these identities are not permanent, or don't have to be permanent. It's kind of like we subconsciously don't realize that we choose to hold on to these identities because we defend it. We defend, this is who I am, and you don't understand, and you don't have empathy for me if you don't understand this is who I am, and it's hard for me. And that's a defense mechanism for something that is actually sabotaging us, right? And this is exactly what happened during the session, that this person has challenged my identity, something that was hurting me, that I have held onto for probably over 20 years. And I said, what are you talking about? This is who I am, and it's very hard for me, and it's so difficult. And she said, I don't care. Can you just get out of this now? Can you just let this go? And I got so angry because it challenged, and it's interesting that knowing what I know, I have gone through a lot of these identities, and I've let go of a lot of them, but sometimes even I'm blind to the fact that I'm just holding on to something completely unnecessary. So even though I've done this many times over with different portions of my identities, and I understand these things are temporary if we allow them to be temporary, I felt like, oh my God, I will never let go of this. It's been like this for so long. It's just who I am. I can't do this. And I have to tell you that, when she challenged it, I was very resistant. I felt like, oh my God, this just doesn't resonate with me. I cannot do this. But I knew, as this anger was rising up in me, I knew that this was also kind of the way out. And when I say the way out, is that it was an opportunity to feel whatever has been stuck there for 20 years, feel that frustration, that anger, that whatever it is that came up. It took me about 20 minutes, and she told me, Agi, you know how to do this. You're talking about this, and I do actually make videos about how to let energy through when it arises, how to allow it. And she said, why aren't you using your own tool that you have? Well, I can't say it's my tool, it's just a process. Why don't you allow yourself to kind of let the process happen instead of holding on to this thing? And sure enough, I said, I didn't even say much. I just said, fine. I was still very frustrated, and eventually I just went into, okay, let me feel it. Let this just finish itself now. Let this come up and be gone. And what that means is literally allowing all that fire to come through and burn through. And when it's ready, when it really gets ignited like that, that's an opportunity. It really ignited me that she has made me face these things, and in that moment my perception and belief system had a chance to flip over. And it did in about a matter of a few minutes, because once it's there, once it's ready, once I know that, okay, I got this, it's coming through, I know I can let go. And I have to tell you that within a matter of, once this process begins and there's a real allowing in regards of it, there's a real allowing, and when I say allowing, you really just kind of let it all come to surface. You let it all kind of burn through. I usually bring up the hot pepper as the example, when you just completely surrender to the burn and let it burn, and it no longer has power over you because you no longer fear it, you no longer resist it, you no longer hold on to it, or you no longer have any kind of engagement with it. You just allow it and let it go through. And that's exactly what I did with this mountain of energy that was bubbling up in me. And afterwards I'm like, wait a second, I'm not feeling what I've been feeling for 20 years. All of a sudden there was no trigger. The trigger was neutral. It was neutralized. And I have experienced this with many other things, because I've practiced this process over the years. But this was something that, I couldn't quiet. I don't know. It was a subconscious identity that I didn't have figured out. And this healing session, I could have gone the other way, which is, oh, screw her. I will not speak to this person again. She has challenged my identity. She said what I'm feeling is not okay. And I could have gone that route, but I know better. That when someone makes you kind of face yourself and something about you that just simply, you believe it, but it's not really everybody's reality, then it's time for you to think, okay, what if I can learn something and actually swap this reality, swap this perception, swap the belief system, and my entire life could change. And since then, I don't have the same feelings about in relation to whatever it is that came up, what we have been working on. I just don't have that trigger. It's neutral now. And it's a liberation. It's like you are that much freer. You no longer have this fear. You no longer have this phobia. You no longer have X, Y, and Z that has been holding you back all your life. Or maybe you no longer have to get sick, or you maybe no longer have to have all these issues with men. I mean, there's so many things that can be released and fixed through getting, kind of, because it's kind of an ego battle. You will defend your identity because the ego kicks in and like, what are you talking about? I have to defend myself. I need compassion from you instead of, this and that. But the truth is that if you push the ego aside and say, hey, what if this, what if we don't have to defend this identity any longer? And it hurts. It's frustrating at first, but it is the way. The way is through it. And the way you go through it is you allow yourself to feel it and allow yourself to process it. So tell me if there is some identity that you're holding on to, that you are ready to process, and you're not afraid to face your ego when it's trying to defend it. And you can take on someone else's perspective who has mastered that area, who no longer has that belief system, who lives without that belief system. Because I can tell you right now, if it's possible for someone else to not be scared of spiders, it is possible for you too. And I don't care how long you have felt it. You can tomorrow wake up and not feel the same fear. I don't care what happened. I don't care how it happened. When you're really ready to let that frustration arise of, maybe, this is who I am, but maybe this is not who I have to be. It is frustrating at first. But when you really let your all that energy rise through and kind of burn through, you may realize that it was not quote unquote real. It was a temporary thing that got stuck in you that isn't really you. None of these identities are really us. If it's possible for someone else, it is possible for us. Okay? Belief systems. And then life changes overnight. It really does. So, tell me something you are ready, some identity, some aspect of your identity, whether it's a phobia, whether it's a perception of yourself, how you see yourself, how you see someone else, how you see a group of people, how you believe your body functions. This could even be something like, I'm a sick person. Are you a sick person? Is this belief system feeding the illnesses? These are all things that you can look at and challenge that identity, that aspect of yourself, and swap it over. Change that perception. See what happens. See how life changes and rearranges as a result. Okay, ladies? Please share your thoughts, experiences, and identities you're ready to let go of in the comments. See you next time. Take care.